Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing a how I found out I was pregnant at 16 and like my boyfriend's reaction and like basically everybody's reaction and how they found out, if I told them or not, so things like that. So let's get straight into it. So okay, what happened with me and my boyfriend, we didn't really find out. We kind of basically knew that I was pregnant already because we weren't using protection. So we basically knew. We just didn't have like that confirmation of like a pregnancy test or anything. So in our reaction, like to us knowing that I was pregnant, it wasn't, I mean, we didn't really have a reaction besides being happy. So our reaction wasn't really like, oh, like I started showing symptoms and that's how I took a pregnancy test, and then boom, like our reaction was like really like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? We did feel like that later down the line, like okay, now like what are we gonna do, you know? But it didn't hit us at that point yet. But our the way we felt towards having a baby was never like, oh my gosh, why did this happen? Like, why me? I don't want the baby or whatever like that. So it was never that. We never thought about doing abortion or adoption, especially abortion. We're not about that. I'm completely against it. We're just not for it. And adoption, you know, I thought that I'm not for it. I obviously wanted my baby. So that was out of the picture. It was never like a thought. I'm just like letting y'all know that it wasn't a thought in our minds. So okay, so like fast forward to me actually taking the pregnancy test. I took the pregnancy test at my dad's. My parents are not together, so that's why I say at my dad's. So what happened was, this was actually in the summer going into junior year. So I am currently still a junior. This was around June. This was around June, because in July I took my July 1st, I think I took my first pregnancy like belly picture, which I can insert right here. And what happened was is that he had, before I went with my dad for the month, because in summer like we go with my dad for a month. I was with my dad. So he gave me the 2 pregnancy tests to take, and when I went with my dad, I took the pregnancy test. I did not take it with anybody. I took it by myself, and while I was texting my boyfriend. Nobody knew. I did not mention it to anybody. I did not mention any friends. I don't have friends. But I didn't mention it to any friends. So what happened was, I didn't mention it to anybody. So what happens, I took the pregnancy test, right? And like I said, I have 2. So I actually didn't take it at his house. I took it like in the pool area. Like not in the pool, but like there's an area, like the restroom area. So that kind of sounds gross, but it's actually really nice there. Okay, anyways, so I took the pregnancy test and I took this one first, and I marked it in the back so I know which one I took first. I don't know if you can tell, but I marked it in the back. So I took the pregnancy test and it came out positive. Obviously, like I have a whole baby, but it didn't seem real accurate because like if you can see here, you can tell like one of the lines are faded. So I was like, well, it's positive, but like, is it accurate? Like, is it actually telling me, you know, you're pregnant, if I'm pregnant or if I'm not pregnant? So what happened was, I looked it up online, because that's where I looked everything up. So I looked it up online, and it said that I was probably taking the test too early. It was probably too early to tell if I was pregnant, basically. So it said, you know, if it shows that, it still means you're pregnant, but it's still early on. So if you want to be sure, you know, take another one in a week or 2, or in a week, it said. So I was like, okay, and me and my boyfriend were like, okay, well, we'll just wait, you know. But for right now, this means you're pregnant. So we were both happy, you know, like I wasn't like, I wasn't having a baby with someone like I don't like or love or anything, so that was a good thing. But then I took the second pregnancy test. It was about a week later, and it still came out the same. So, but I was like, okay, well, and there's no signs of me like not being pregnant, because one of the signs before I took the pregnancy test was not having my period. I didn't actually notice. I don't remember like how long I had my period. I mean, how long I didn't have my period for. So, but that was one sign I didn't have my period, because in my early first trimester, I didn't really have any symptoms and I wasn't showing in any kind of way. So that was that. Another symptom was me throwing up, like basically morning sickness. But my morning sickness was really weird. So I would throw up in the car though. Like I would get car sick and I would throw up. So that right there like gets into my mom's reaction of, she didn't find out, I told her. So, well, we'll get into that. So then, let's see. Then that passed by, right? I actually had to go back with my mom because I had like a church retreat. Oh my gosh, a church retreat to go to. Like in the early July. So I had a church retreat, so I had to go back home, right? So when I went back home, I was with my boyfriend and we took another pregnancy test that also came up positive. Same reaction, nothing, we were happy. So then he had told me like I need to tell my mom, and I was very procrastinating to tell her. I was like, no, I'll tell her after, I was like, not right now, like I kept making up excuses, blah blah, right? I ended up having to tell her because I promised him. I was like, no, I really gotta tell you. I mean, no, I really gotta tell her. So on the way to church, I had told her like, Mom, like I need to talk to you. Like I took a pregnancy test and it came out positive. And her face was already kind of straight. Like I don't want to say like if she saw it coming, but I kind of feel like she knew already. Like I kind of feel like she kind of knew, but she didn't know. You know what I mean? You probably don't know what I mean. But because like I said, like I had car sick. So, like I was basically car sick, morning sickness. And I couldn't hide the fact that I was throwing up. Especially that I had siblings. They make fun of me 24/7 about throwing up. That was amazing. But so I couldn't really hide the fact that I was throwing up in the car. So I always had to have a bag with me and everything. So, and I kind of just blew it off. I was like, no, I'm just sick, And then she had asked me like if I started my period. I obviously lied and told her yes. Which I didn't, obviously. So what happened was that she was very disappointed and sad, and she shedded a few tears, but I know she tried to like play it off for me not to see, but I saw. And all she told me was like, if this, she didn't say these exact words, but it was around like the line of this. She was just saying like, if this is what God wants, then it is what it is. I'm gonna be here to support you and be here for you the best way that I can be. And I was like, okay. And then she had told me like, I'm gonna take you to the doctor after you come back from your retreat. So I was like, okay. So yeah, I was like, okay. So after I come back from my retreat, I actually threw up once at my retreat, but I didn't tell her that. I don't think I told her that. Anyways, so when I came back from my retreat, I was still the only one home because everybody else was with my dad. And even though I told my mom didn't tell my dad. I told her like I didn't want to tell him. So yeah, like I hadn't told my dad yet. So what happened was I came back home. About a couple days later, we went to the clinic. We actually went to a clinic, not like a hospital. And they did the pregnancy test, like the urine sample, urine sample. And she told me it came out positive. She gave me a little talk. Not my mom, the nurse or whatever. And that was that, right? Then they scheduled me another appointment to go to do like the ultrasound. That ultrasound, I didn't get any like actual pictures. They had to, you know, they had to, what is it called? Reschedule me another appointment at like at like an actual like university or hospital over there or whatever. So that's when I actually got the pictures. But when I was there, my mom did actually take a couple of pictures so I could like insert them here, and you can see like my belly isn't like big or whatever. I still look pretty skinny. So and he actually was kicking. I think I was about 4 months pregnant then, and he was actually kicking. I couldn't feel it yet, but it was really cute to just see, like, you know, on the screen there's a baby, and then look at your stomach, you're like, dang, there's a baby inside me. To this day I still think like, dang, I just pushed out a whole baby. But what happened was he's right here. What happened was is that I rescheduled my next appointment, and that's when I actually went to the ultrasound. My boyfriend did come with me to the ultrasound, and this is where I got it. And I was in this, I was 19 weeks and 5 days, so my second trimester. And I think by then, by right now, my throwing up and all that started going away. So I can show you. This is how he looked. His face is like, is it upside down? No. His face is like right here, and it goes like this. And then this picture just like mentions that he's a boy. It just says like boy because it shows, you know. So that was the first thing we got, and they gave us like 4, like this is the same pictures, so we both could have them. What's wrong, baby? What's wrong? Okay, so yeah, they gave us that, and then that was that, right? That was like my mom's reaction and everything. So going to my dad's reaction, I actually didn't tell my dad, like, at all. I didn't tell him. Why? I actually stopped talking to him right after I had went home to go to my retreat, just because I wasn't a big fan of his behavior. I didn't stop talking to him just because of my just because I found out I was pregnant. I wasn't because of that. It was more because like his behavior. When I did go back and stop talking to him, that's when it kind of started to be like, no, I didn't want to go, just because I didn't want him telling me anything, because he did tell me before, like, I'm not gonna help you if you're pregnant, so you better not get pregnant, you know. So I think he's taking a poop. So what happened was is that my dad's reaction, like, he found out from someone else. I actually do have an idea who told him, because by then when my dad found out, only my mom's side of the family knew. My dad's side of the family didn't know either. Only like a couple people knew. But I actually do have, like, how do you say it? I do, like, I kind of know who told him, but I don't know for sure. So I ain't gonna point no fingers. So, but it's whatever. I knew he was gonna find out. I just didn't think it was gonna be till like after he was born. So he found out, and he actually gave my mom a call and said, you know, they were talking about my brother at first, and he had said, well, when were you gonna tell me? And she was like, what do you mean? Like, this just happened 3 days ago, like, about my brother. And he was like, no, about your daughter. And I could hear him, like on the call. And he wasn't on speaker, just saying. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, so like I said, he wasn't on speaker, so he was talking pretty loud. So he had said, when were you gonna tell me? And she was like, if she doesn't want to tell you, she don't gotta tell you. If she wants to, then she can. And he was like, whatever, alright. Then she needs to figure that on her own, like he cussed, and then she started talking about him like as a dad and like getting after him and whatever. And then he had said like, because I'm gonna give you like a little story on like why they're talking about my brother, and it was because my brother was standing up for me because of him. Okay, so basically like what I was saying was like a little like a story like why they were saying stuff like talking about my brother is because apparently someone was talking about me, so he was standing up for me. So my dad was like, she needs to fight her own battles, like nobody needs to, no, not everybody needs to be doing it for her, and blah blah blah, right? And obviously that's not true. Nobody fights my battles for me. He's my brother, and a family stands up for each other. So I didn't really care. I was just like whatever, you know. And when my dad finds out about things, you know, I understand he was mad. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me. So when he found out about it, I understand why he was mad. Of course, he's a parent, but I didn't really care too much of what he said. I was just like, whatever. I was actually going to call him and like tell him, like not tell him something like all rude, but just, you know, make it a point of view, but he didn't answer. So excuse me, sir, what is going on with you? Oh no, you peed all over yourself. Are you kidding me? Look at this little boy. Now I gotta pause my video. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I had some locations because the lighting in my room was getting really bad. But yes, my little boy did pee on himself. He's actually right here. I had to clean him up. Anyways, like I was saying, is that that's how my dad's reaction was. Now it's different. He actually has been his grandson, and I did start talking to him a little bit. One reason why was because my boyfriend kind of like just said, you know, like you should at least let him see his grandson like it is the grandpa, you know. So that's one reason why too. And then I had started thinking about maybe like I should talk to him because, you know, I didn't want to go like the rest of my life without talking to him. And so my boyfriend kind of helped me with that too. And then I also just didn't want to, after I started thinking about it, I didn't want to put my son in the middle of things, because I do know how it feels to be put in the middle when like your parents don't like something, you know, like they kind of put it on their kids. So I didn't want that for him, and I promised myself like I wasn't gonna be like that. So that was basically it. Or in my family's reaction, they were just kind of just real disappointed and sad for my mom's side of the family, just because that's the only people we kind of told, and for my dad's side of the family, nobody knew. I don't really know the reaction, but they did text my mom once my mom started posting it on Facebook and all that. They wanted to see him and all this. But that was basically it. That's my story. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm kind of out of breath, but I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope y'all continue watching my videos. And please like, subscribe, and comment any other videos I want to see, and follow my Instagram, which is, I'd say look on like in the description. And yeah.